SIG is finding itself in some hot water again as we have 3 new pieces of information about the SIG P320 today, and that is a leaked DHS memo, an FBI report, and yet another case of the gun allegedly going off on its own. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Earlier this year I did a story about a town government official who shot a teenager in the face and claimed the gun went off by itself. That firearm was a SIG P320, which has been the source of a lot of controversy and claims the firearm does, in fact, go off on its own. And now we have 3 new pieces of information about that same model of SIG to add to the pot. First, we have a leaked Department of Homeland Security memo directing Immigration and Customs Enforcement to stop carrying the SIG P320. The memo was allegedly leaked to Breitbart, and they did not publish the memo itself, so who knows really, but they claim that it was dated July 9th and confirmed by a federal agent. According to the outlet, the memo says that ICE will no longer be authorized to carry all models of the SIG P320 pistols. It also directs the Office of Firearms and Tactical Programs to purchase, as soon as practical, replacement duty handguns for currently affected ICE-authorized officers, including those scheduled to be issued in the near term, and to provide a proposed plan within 10 calendar days to, among other items, supply an agency-issued Glock 19 MOS pistol and related equipment to include a micro red dot sight, weapon-mounted light, duty holster, and concealed carry holster to all ICE-authorized officers moving forward. Now, this memo sounds like it's something that's happening quickly, but Breitbart reports that another federal agent said that the change isn't supposed to come until October, though we don't know what alphabet agency that federal agent is from. So that's piece number 1. Now, SIG has been subject to a few lawsuits over this pistol. First, there was some evidence that the guns could drop fire if they landed at a certain angle. This was addressed in a 2017 drop test video by Omaha Outdoors. So, SIG released an updated version of the pistol, offered voluntary upgrades, and claimed that this modification would fix the problem, while also claiming it was a problem that doesn't exist. But then there came reports of these guns firing all willy-nilly. Even one report caught on video of a gun going off while just sitting in a cop's holster. SIG said, nope, it's an anti-gun conspiracy designed to take us down. And as I've said, there have been several lawsuits against SIG because of this pistol, and while a lot of them have been dismissed, they have lost some of them. Now there is a new video that allegedly shows a school resource officer's gun going off in the holster as she is loading things into her cruiser. The video has no sound, and really the only indication we have of anything happening is that the student walking by suddenly stops and whips around to look at the cop. If we weren't told that that's what's happening in the video, I don't think that I would have assumed that that is the scenario. But that is what we're being told, and it was caught on camera. According to the Ceres, California Police Department, the officer was shot in the leg by her holstered firearm while working as a school resource officer during a summer school session in June. The department says that it was a SIG P320 and that the officer was not interacting with it in any way and that it was secured in an approved, compatible holster. Again, we don't know what really happened. The video doesn't show much, and the department is still investigating. But for now, they are saying it was an uncommanded discharge. There are millions of SIGs out there where this doesn't happen, so we don't know how often it really does, but it's happened enough times at this point to at least be a meme and a thing that people joke and poke fun about on Reddit. But here's a funny little thing. The FBI did an investigation into these claims last summer, and the report has just now been made public. The report says that it didn't confirm the issue, but it doesn't deny it either, and does provide some evidence that this happens despite saying that their results are inconclusive. The FBI's ballistic research facility specifically tested a single pistol that had allegedly had an uncommanded discharge while issued to an officer with the Michigan State Police. According to reports, that gun went off in the holster with multiple witnesses. The FBI's report has been made public this week after a public records request to the Michigan police. Now, I'm going to be real with you guys. The construction and parts of guns and how they all work together is not at all my forte, but here's the big take-home directly from the report itself. The striker safety lock spring is used to hold the striker safety lock in a downward position until acted upon by the captive safety lever. The striker safety lock is intended to prevent the striker from moving forward in the event sear engagement, primary or secondary, is lost. It was observed that the spring was not fully seated on its post. It was also observed that the striker safety lock spring was only captured at the top of the striker housing. A pre-upgrade SIG P320 striker safety lock was reviewed for comparison, and it was observed that both the top and bottom of the striker safety lock spring was captured. If the striker safety lock spring leg lost engagement with the top of the striker safety lock, the lock would no longer be spring-loaded and could possibly seize or free float, rendering the striker safety lock inoperable. Approximately 50 attempts were made to determine if the striker would impact the primed case after manipulating the weapon while holstered. The weapon was pressed together and pulled apart at the slide and frame. Thereafter, pressure was applied to the frame and the sear manually released from the primary notch. The intent of the manipulation and pressure was to mimic what might occur to a holstered weapon during an officer's duties, such as running, jumping, climbing, fighting, pressing a weapon against a wall or vehicle, or obtaining a master grip on the pistol prior to drawing, etc. BRF staff observed the primed case fired on 9 attempts with the primer indent measuring between 0.019 and 0.026, with an average of 0.023. While staging one attempt to allow another BRF staff member to observe the striker safety lock function as designed, the weapon was prepared and placed into the holster with no manipulation. A second staff member released the primary sear notch from the striker and the primed case fired, indicating failure of the striker safety lock. The primer indentation measured 0.018. BRF observed 6 instances where the primer did not fire, but a small indentation was present, indicating the striker had contacted the primer. A brand new unfired SIG M18 was obtained from MSP to determine if the test could be repeated on another weapon. On the first attempt, the striker safety lock successfully prevented the striker from impacting the primed case. However, on the second attempt, the primed case fired, indicating the striker safety lock failed to stop the striker's forward movement. So, right there we have it. The FBI test did get the gun to fire. A reliable test could not be developed at the time of this document to test the effectiveness of the secondary sear notch. However, testing did indicate, with movements representing those common to a law enforcement officer, it is possible to render the striker safety lock inoperable and ineffective at preventing the striker from impacting a chambered round if complete sear engagement is lost. It is important to note that the striker safety lock, by design, is the last safety in line to prevent an unintended discharge, as it is in place to protect against a secondary sear notch override. That seems pretty not great. It also sounds like maybe a lot of things would have to happen or be overridden to get one of these discharges, but it's not impossible. And I am wondering, at least, if these results had any bearing on DHS's decision to drop SIG for Glock. The two things could be completely separate. There is a lot of gun politicking that goes on behind the scenes with these contracts, so who knows? But it is an interesting series of events. Either way, however you want to cut it, whether or not the FBI report is linked to this decision, or if the decision was made because of all these other incidents, or if they are completely independent, separate things, either way, it doesn't look so great for SIG. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this bit of drama in the gun world. You guys know the drill for all of the algorithm things. Please do them. And as always, my light just went out. Don't know what that's about. As always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and happy shooting.